You are live on the WiseNuts.
Thank you. I had to turn up the TV. I know that Mr. Calvert knows me. I'm Beth Brooks. I sent you an email, and I wanted to just, say that I'll be honest, the reason that the public is confused is because while Mr. Calvert is a very nice person, he's confusing people. If you listen to what he just said, does anybody understand what he just said? He basically said, we're studying it, we're looking at it, we don't want to do it now. What people want to know is it possible that those parking lots will be turned into large-scale, dense housing? The answer is it's a binary question, yes or no, yes. Nobody asked if it's happening tomorrow. Nobody asked if it's happening next week. It can happen. The determination of land as surplus goes to the state. According to the state, the city only declares land surplus if it has an intention at some point in the future, could be tomorrow, could be 5 years from now, to sell or lease that property.
Well, Beth, that's one of the
regulations.
Sorry to cut you off, but that's one of the things that we kind of brought up to Bradley. It was like, is this something that's inevitable? I mean, are we at the mercy?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. There are many semantic gymnastics happening here. It's like saying to somebody, you know what? We're taking away your office. We're changing your job title, but you're not fired. Okay, I'm not fired this minute, but guess what? We're studying to see whether we're going to replace you in your job. And after we have a meeting, it could happen. Bottom line, you're leaving. You're probably leaving. And this is the first step. We don't need him to reassure people. That's damage control. That's about the reputation of the city council and the city to not have the public be outraged. People need to get in the first step. This is the first step. We all woke up and we looked at Central and we said, oh my God, where'd these buildings come from? Well, the city actually has a public now who's awake. And we see what's happening. And we see that you can't play word games with it's a plan, it's a study, it's a this, it's a that. This is step number one. Declaring the land surplus is step number one. To the state, it says you're going to sell it or lease it. Now, if there's some plan they have, this could be like a transfer between city agencies. There's all these like convoluted little exceptions, also called exemptions. That's irrelevant. They can be sold or leased. They can be very, very large. They can go up to 300 units if they choose to, if the city council decides to declare certain of those properties. Like I said, the parking lot behind the St. Gregory's Armenian Church, the properties by the Civic Auditorium. Right now, they don't seem to qualify, but I don't know what the city has plans for those properties.
Okay.
Whoever wrote the document that the city council used on March 4th to determine whether these lands would be surplus or not, I think his name is Mark Berry, said we'd like to investigate this to see if you could build 300 units on there. So just let us know in the future. People don't need gaslighting. People need yes or no. Can they be sold or leased? Yes. Does Mr. Bradley have a crystal ball that he knows what the next city council has as an intention to sell or lease them? He cannot sit there and say, we don't want to sell them. We have no intent. Who's we?
Got it, Beth.
New people could come in and June 6th. Who's we?
Got it, Beth. Thank you. Thank you so much for the call. We're going to get back to Bradley really quickly about that question right now.
Thank you so much. Take care. I love you guys.
Beth's question goes back to what my question was. Is this, and again, as transparent as possible, is this something that's inevitable?
I don't think it has to be inevitable. And us declaring surplus land does not obligate us to do any of these things. Again, our intent here was to hopefully, if something did change, if there was an inevitable out there from, say, the state perspective in terms of pushing down those regulations, that hopefully we have grandfathered something in place now. It's not a regulation that maybe has a bigger impact on us. She's right. I don't have a crystal ball. Absolutely not. But I think what we've learned from other state regulations that have come down that we weren't prepared for, that we weren't forward thinking about, this is us trying to think in advance. And what I'll say to that is, look, if the public or the council, whoever, if anybody doesn't agree with the city's approach on this, this is what we want to know. I'm not here to push this to say I'm trying to convince someone to follow this path. I just want to make sure that the correct information is out there. And if the public doesn't think this is a good enough strategy, or if ultimately the council doesn't either, we'll pull back. We'll change it. and that's ultimately going to come down to their direction. But this is something that was a legitimate concern that we have, that we might lose additional control when it comes to development. But again, the city could develop it today if they felt like it.
But we're not. All this information comes down from Sacramento. If Sacramento turns around and says, "Hey, Glendale, you got to build something on there," and we turn around and we say, "Well, you know what? No, we're not doing it." We have spoken to our council, we've spoken to our citizens, and our people do not want this. What's going to happen?
That is one thing I probably can't predict. I think what our goal is now is to try to avoid a situation like that and kind of operating in good faith that, look, hey, we are taking affordable housing seriously. Maybe we don't always agree with all of their approaches, but we are taking it seriously. We are giving it consideration. We are giving it a look. We're doing this with properties all over the city right now. But it does not mean it's inevitable. I think for us, it's trying to position ourselves in a defensive, protective position so that we do retain local control.
Is the council for or against this project or potential project?
When you say potential project, you mean that property being developed?
Possibly in the future? Because look, the reason why I'm saying it is because we've seen how these political figures come into office and they say, well, you know what? I promise you X, I promise you Y, and I promise you Z. And all of a sudden, none of that happens. And then ABC hits you and you're like, holy shit, bro, I just voted for this person. And they said they weren't going to do this, but now they're doing it. And then they turn around and say, well, you know, it was the state and can't do anything. We're going to get fined and they're going to take away funding. I'm looking at this as it is inevitable. I think it's really going to happen. But the individual that we have in council right now, we have Artie Kasakian, we have Vartan Garabetian, Ellen Al-Saterian, Dan Brotman, and Ara Najarian. So I think Ara, Ellen, and Dan are up for re-election if they're going to be running again. Now, again, I don't know where their position is on this. I haven't heard the city council meetings, but let's say, for example, all 5 council members say, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Is there repercussions for going against the state?
That would depend on the rule and the regulation that they may pass down at that time. There I'd be trying to forecast if I could, but there have been, if we're not abiding by the spirit of the law that the state has passed down in regards to housing, then they will let us know, and they'll let us know what those repercussions are. But that could vary depending on what that situation is.
See, this is why it's so important. When we have conversations about assembly members, when we have conversations about senators, congressmen, all these people that are involved up north, right? This is why it's so important to make sure the people that we're voting for up there have our best interest. When they come out and they start doing their little campaigns and all that, you want to make sure whoever's out there isn't for this high density and affordable housing stuff. Vote the right people in, because whoever's up there right now is.
Yeah, but we have to understand who has the final say. Is it the city council, or is it, for example, you, or is it the people? Who has the final say? Is it the state? Because I remember even, when was it, last year, the state of California was suing the city of La Cañada because they don't have apartment buildings, right?
Affordable housing and apartment building, and they lost. The city of La Cañada, the people lost.
So now they're forced to build affordable housing in La Cañada.
Yes.
So somebody who spent $5, $10, $15, $20 million to live in an affluent area like La Cañada could potentially have a 5-story building next to their home
with affordable housing.
Yes. Right? How does that make sense? Do we not have enough land in California to build affordable housing? We have to go to every single city.
And I think that's the position we're trying to put ourselves in. Right? We've done what we can, what we should, what we've needed to for affordable housing. And is it enough? Probably not. Are we done? Probably not. And I don't think this city, the city council, the community, our department, none of us are against affordable housing. I think we're against those kind of situations, though, where it's not placed in a location where it belongs necessarily, where it's not disruptive to a community by its scope, its scale, its transportation impacts, things of that nature. What we're hoping for, what we want when we look at this project or we do anything else, is we want to work in a more collaborative approach. I think in that regard, that you're not applying the same rule to La Cañada as you are to Glendale, as you are to Los Angeles. We're all 3 very distinct and different communities, and those same rules can't apply in all of those places. And I would say that we've had some progress in our conversations from the state, but when you ask, who has the final say, I guess it depends on where we're at, right? In this plan, the city council has that final say to tell us, do we want to change directions from what we're studying now? Do we want to change directions from what we're proposing? Do we want to keep the charge going? And that's why we're out here doing our public engagement period, is to get that feedback, give it to council, and then that way they can make an informed decision based on what the community said.
Did you enjoy that clip? Click over here to watch the full episode, and click over here to subscribe to the WiseNuts Podcast YouTube channel.